14th, 2025. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, Madam Clerk, read the roll, please.
Supervisor Evans,
Here.
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Here.
Councilman Malone,
Present.
Councilman Perticone,
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Wayner,
He's, his wife had minor surgery, so he's not able to be with us.
and Attorney for the town.
Here. We're going to start off with a presentation from Labella. Please, you come right up and grab a mic. How are
Hi,
you doing?
good afternoon.
Good, good.
Yeah, thanks for letting us attend your general workshop session here. Appreciate that. Just wanted to start off by saying when we issued a project status update about a month ago, mid-March, since then there's some projects that we haven't been able to advance due to a network outage at Labella. There was an internal IT network outage that is currently still being looked into and investigated. But I do want to say that all of the communications from Labella and to Labella are secure, and there's no need to be concerned about that. So because of that network outage, there were various projects that weren't accessible to us that we typically save to our network. But our network is back online now, so we're able to progress some projects. But that's why you may see some delay based on what we submitted to you last month and then what we just handed out today. Yeah, let's go through real quick. And as much detail as you'd like. You know, we'd like to make sure that the town board is comfortable with where things stand. And if you have questions, I'm happy to answer those. My immediate managing supervisor, Ed Flynn, is here as well. He's going to be available to talk to you about grant funding and applications, those different types of projects, which are on the back of the sheet here. But first off, Camp Eastman is on here, the backyard project in the town hall. And since last month, the doors have been installed, our door has been installed, the concrete slab is poured at the project site, and the building is almost enclosed. And the interior framing and wiring is complete on the cabin as well. Any questions on that? If I'm not able to answer anything, I will take some questions back to our office because we've got some individuals that are working on those projects actively that might be better suited if I don't have the answer for you. Any questions on that one so far? No? Okay. The town hall project with the bathroom renovation and the report with environmental survey findings. The report, that's one of those projects that's been delayed a little bit due to the network outage. Basically, the report would identify whether substances are present inside the town hall. For example, asbestos-containing materials, lead-based paint, mercury-containing equipment, and PCBs. And the result of the survey would identify how to best manage those materials. Doesn't necessarily mean that they are a danger to the public or the danger to employees. They may be present, and as long as they're contained and managed properly, there isn't a reason to be concerned. So that report should be available by the end of this month for you guys to see.
So Wes, the bathrooms.
Yeah.
There was, they did some investigation there. They did they did find some asbestos in there. My understanding it was less than 1%. Do you know what the findings were in the bathroom?
I don't, not off the top of my head.
All right, so I'm looking at probably fittings, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm thinking. So, what I was looking at is we've been talking, because I have all the old estimates and everything that we did to renovate those bathrooms, those two. Actually, it started out doing the bottom floor of that, and then we incorporated those into the courts. So I was looking into maybe getting this thing back out in the street.
Okay.
I think the initial bid was $234 for both bathrooms. my investigation, I'm certainly sure it's going to be considerably more than that now, I would think, that once we put general conditions in there, once we put in maybe some soft costs and stuff like that. So mine was just interested if you can find out if they know what the issue was in the bathrooms, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Because if it was fittings, I don't think that should have been held up the job. I mean, that's why you renovate, right, to extract the asbestos.
Okay.
So that's something, and again, there were some things in there, again, in my estimate, what I have to go forward with that, I don't have any asbestos abatement or anything. I have no idea what that would be, you know what I mean? This is all just a guess. So, but what I'm seeing from 234, it's gonna be considerably more to put that back out on the street, but that's something I'd like to look into.
Okay, we can help
Yeah,
you
just
with that.
find out if they know what was the issue in the bathroom, that's all.
All right, will do.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that one? No? Okay. The Titus Ave sidewalk project, we're waiting on closeout documents, and there's a change order, which is anticipated to be worked on this week, which is simply the facade of the storefront there was resting on top of the old sidewalk, and when the old sidewalk was removed, there was some damage or some sagging of the facade since the sidewalk had to be replaced. So. And any substantive comments that Aaron might have, you might be able to substitute or, chime in if I don't have some piece of information, so. The Seneca Road reconstruction project, that one's complete. There's nothing new to report there. The as-built drawings, I understand, are with the town's Department of Public Works, so we'll probably take that one off of this update at the next month. Nothing new there. The Bellhurst Pump Station, the punch list walkthrough is complete, and just waiting for on-site restoration. And I think there is a change order to install a pipe. I'm not sure if it's been installed yet, between the wet well and the manhole. Is that accurate? Okay. Any questions there? No? Okay. I don't have anything new to report on the Belmead road drainage. We're still preparing construction documents there. The DPW fire pump analysis, we're reaching out to the pump manufacturer to discuss pump calculations and evaluate the possible reason behind a pump failure.
Well, Belmead, didn't we do Belmead? We did.
This is an overflow structure.
Okay, this is overflow.
They're gonna design it, and then we're gonna make it in-house.
All right, okay.
Okay. The zoning regulation rewrite. Phase 1 is just about done. I think we talked about that last month, and we can get that to you hopefully soon. Phase 2, and I might leave some of this conversation with Ed, because there's a potential grant program to move forward with Phase 2, which is the more substantive component and the lengthier process of the zoning rewrite. The Phase 1, which is almost complete, is the smaller piece of this update and is more procedural in nature. So it doesn't require as much legwork or participation, collaboration with the public and workshops, that sort of thing. And then with the design and construction standards, that's something, the proposal that we've been working on, that's something else that got paused due to our network outage. So we should be able to get a proposal to the town board for review and possible action in the coming weeks.
So just a second,
Yeah.
Wes, to go back to the zoning, the funding or the grant, we're gonna see if we can get some money to help out with moving it forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so is that in process now to see if that's something we can move with?
The actual writing of the application?
Yeah, is that,
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so we're actually going to do a two-step process. We're going to apply for a comprehensive plan update first,
okay.
and then update the zoning.
All right, so that's first, the
Yeah,
the update on the
you do that
comprehensive
first,
plan.
that's for the old and
Yeah,
update.
okay, so then you can, all right, okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks.
That's great.
The LWRP, submission has been made to Department of State, and I think we're waiting DOS comments. We thought we might hear from them mid-April, and now we're here. So we may ping them and see where they're at with their comments. The traffic calming measures, Seneca Road, Point Pleasant Road, Titus Ave, this is another one of the projects that was delayed a bit. We do have some nice documents and diagrams for some restriping, a little bit of signage. So the restriping would involve lane narrowing and then also some crosswalks, very visual types of cues for motor vehicles to help promote, some slower traffic in these areas. And that document should be available by the end of this month as well for you guys.
So you're saying instead of the striping and all that slows traffic down, that's instead of like a stop sign?
Yes.
On all these, or no? Are you suggesting stop signs anywhere? or is
No, I don't think we're
everything
suggesting stop signs anywhere. I know that was maybe contemplated here
Yeah.
at some point, and I
know
think
they
our,
did a traffic study.
our traffic engineer is recommending not moving
Okay.
forward with stop signs. They don't feel that that's the best solution. But, so we'll have a report to you by the end of this month that should outline the rationale as to why we're suggesting the things that we are.
And then maybe we'll go to a public hearing on this?
Yeah,
Okay,
possible.
okay.
I'm not sure what the purpose of the public hearing is, because this is we're doing this because of complaints directly from the residents, so this is in response to the residents.
Well, the response I'm hearing is they want stop signs. So that's why I want to make sure that we get this to them, why we're not going to, if we don't do stop signs.
I think,
That's-
I'm not saying that you're wrong or right. The response is they want a slower traffic to protect their children. And so what we did was we went to the experts instead of just saying, put a stop sign somewhere, went to the experts who are traffic engineers, told them what the problem was, and they came back with the solution that they would give is a solution to the problem versus us telling them what the solution is without understanding what the problem is.
Well, the thing is, we've put stop signs places before. This is new to me, is what
Okay.
I'm saying. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
When there was always speed issues, there was always a stop sign to correct it,
Yeah,
That's
one
all.
of the things that I might suggest that we do is when that report is available, maybe we plan to come, maybe our traffic engineer comes to this type of meeting here to present it to you, and he can help explain the rationale and the science behind why
Okay.
he's proposing what he is.
Yeah, I think that would,
Yeah.
at least making something very public would be,
Yeah.
would be helpful. And then I think that those that have come to us to share their opinions.
Okay. Yep.
Whether it's a public input time or a presentation, I think is.
Yeah. Yep, we can do that. And then the last one is the grants and funding, and I'll yield the microphone to my colleague here, Ed.
Thanks, Wes. Good afternoon, everyone. I think I met some of you. Ed Flynn, Director of Planning at Labella, and fortunate to have Wes as an employee. So we met with Aaron, Bill, and the supervisor's office at the end of January to talk about potential projects where you need potential grant funding for. We sent them a memo in the beginning of March, identifying a few projects that we had identified during that meeting. And then we came up with a strategy of certain grants that you might want to apply for this year. So we decided on 3 of them. Apply for Smart Growth Comprehensive Plan grant to update the comprehensive plan, so then you can do the zoning like we just talked about. Another one was for the Seabreeze neighborhood to apply for a technical assistance grant to do design guidelines, to do some building reuse analyses in that neighborhood, and to maybe do some streetscape improvements. And also apply for Empire State Development Corporation's strategic planning grant as well to help with that project. And we want to get that prepared so you can apply for building improvement funds in the future. So it's not ready for building improvement funds yet, but we wanted to see if we can get it prepped for that. And then finally, a Transportation Alternatives Program grant for the Thomas Avenue sidewalks and some other improvements in that area. And that's typically due in the fall. The first 2 are due as part of the consolidated funding application, which opens up in May, is due in July. And then we have some other ones. Restore New York for the Skyview demolition. We're still waiting on whether you got funded for your last proposal. And then potentially some funding for an ADA sidewalk study. So what I'll do is I'll prepare a letter proposal to Bill and Aaron for the projects. And if you want to move forward with that, we'd be happy to help you.
I think the transportation piece on Thomas Avenue, the alternative, I think is really timely. I've been working with Walk Bike Arundecoit, and they are interested in doing a walk bike audit on Thomas Avenue to be able to present some data. So especially since that is is in the plan to be redesigned anyways. So I think I think it's perfect. It's perfect timing right now. So yeah.
Yeah, and that'd be good data to have to put
Yeah.
into the application.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something through AARP. You know, it's volunteers that will basically just say, hey, there are, you know, we're within this time frame, there were 17 walkers and 42 bikers, you know, whatever, bicyclists, to be able to tell how heavily used at least the walking and biking portion of that road is. So I
Great.
think it's real timely.
Awesome.
And just to inform the board, the criteria that the department heads and LaBella used was environmental corridors, walk corridors where the population used the structures more, and where we can actually increase the business corridor, increase the visibility, increase the wealth of the community. So those are the general criteria that we use.
Could we circle back to the Skyview demo, little details on that, what the scope of that is?
Well, I think you applied for the Skyview demo as part of their last round of Restore New York. They still haven't announced them yet. We thought they would have announced them in March, and they still haven't announced them. So if it's not funded, then reapply for it. But if it is funded, then you wouldn't apply for it.
But there's no details on the demo itself as far as being responsibility of the town? I guess I'm just curious.
No,
I'm
it's-
curious
Yeah, I
about-
don't have
Yeah.
the details on
It's,
that.
it's not responsible to the town, Councilman Grant. The way it works is that because we're part of the, I just lost the name.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, he's right. So,
Because we're part of the housing, I can't remember what it is.
no, so Restore New York, the only eligible applicant is a municipality. But the funding goes to the developer.
We're just a pass-through.
To pass
We're
through,
just
basically,
pass-through.
yeah.
Okay, thank
That's
you.
the way the legislation was written, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry for that miscommunication.
Okay,
We've done it in the past with that specific address also.
okay, thank you, Bill.
And then the only other thing is we did apply for congressionally directed spending requests for police cameras for license plate readers. And we need to apply for the representative congressionally. The representative also has some funding as well. So we applied to Gillibrand and Schumer, and we need to apply to Morelli too.
And that's going to be in conjunction with, I guess, the sheriff department. I haven't had a chance to talk to the chief about this. Has some cameras that they're looking at the county of where to put, and there's probably about 3 or 4 locations that they may want to put in Arundecoit. So we're going to meet and discuss with the police where are the best places to put those cameras based on, number one, where the problem is, the police need, versus what assets are available.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, it's time for department head updates. Just start and just go right down the line.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. So we're in the process of analyzing our JCAP grant. We have several vendors who are interested in doing the work in scanning and shredding documents that we have stored upstairs. That's why I'm here today, actually, is to talk to the board about entering into contracts. And we're fully staffed right now. Things are running smoothly at the court. Still very busy. We're always busy. The police are busy. We're busy. We have now gone into the Monroe County CAP, which is a central arraignment part. So the judges they serve downtown 4 times a quarter instead of being on call for a whole month. And so this is the first month that they've been doing that, and it seems to be working quite well.
Any questions of the courts? Madam Commissioner?
Yes, thank you. In Public Works, we are working, obviously brush pickup is underway, so we just want to help remind people to not put your brush under an obstacle for us, AKA don't put it under a tree or a power line if you can help it. We're also out in full force doing lawn damage and potholes. Next week, April 26th, is our first electronics recycling event at the DPW. It runs from 8 till noon. Also, Saturday, I misspoke last month, so Saturday, May 17th is our DPW open house. So that's where families and everyone can come and check out our facility and see the trucks and equipment in action. And, you know, spring is here, so we look to get our parks opened, get our athletic fields ready, and all of that other sort of trail maintenance and, you know, park cleanup.
I just wanted to pass along, I was at a friend's house, and she had needed a little bit of work done. I'm not sure exactly what. I know that she was in conversation with you. She said that your department was very, very responsive. And I was over yesterday, and she was excited about the new tree that was planted in there right away. So thank you very
awesome.
much for that.
Yeah.
All right, couple updates from our department here. I feel like that's super loud in my ear. We've gotten a lot of inquiries lately about Dave's Hot Chicken, when they're gonna open. They don't have a concrete opening date yet. I know it's a popular thing coming into town. They're telling us late April or early May for that. The other popular inquiry is for 690 Titus Avenue, the coffee shop in Capone's, which is the old Cooper Deli. Again, no exact date yet, but I'm told early to mid-May at the latest to open that back up, so we're pretty excited about that. A couple of larger permits that we've issued in the last 30 days, significant renovation and investment into the Target. It's a multi-million-dollar renovation, so you'll be seeing that construction start shortly. That's interior and exterior renovations. And then new business to open, Southern Chopsticks. It's, I'm told, sushi, hibachi, and Asian street food. The 1970 Eastridge block in the old Plates on the Ridge. Our new assistant building inspector has started, completed his initial onboarding and training, and has really kind of hit the ground running like he's been there for a while. Working with the town attorney, I'm not sure if he plans to talk about it at all, but we have sent a 30-day notice to 95 Lake Bluff with the intention to demolish the structure there after some back and forth and some research that we did together. Thank you to the town attorney for helping me with that, because it continues to be a problem with the police department and the fire marshal's office. So we're moving forward with that. As Mr. Flynn from Labella talked about, our office worked in conjunction with them for the congressional requests relating to equipment that the police department was interested in purchasing. Worked closely with Chief Peters on that. As the supervisor mentioned, the county has purchased 4 cameras, and they're going to be located at a couple different locations in town. The plan is to augment that with Irondequoit equipment in different parts of town, locations to be determined, but that is a request that we put in. The deadline was April 11th, so thanks to them for getting everything in fairly quickly. And then we are also in the process of completing a recertification paperwork for the town to continue to be designated a pro-housing community. It's important because this year the governor has announced $100 million in additional funding for communities that are associated with the program. And again, we were one of the first few in our area, in our region, to be designated, so I think it's important we continue to be designated as such. Question for the board and maybe the attorney here that's just come up today. We have a scheduling conflict. Our Historic Preservation Commission and the Board of Assessment Review. Theoretically, the Historic Preservation Board reserved this room first, but the Board of Assessment Review needs it for their legally obligated assessment reviews. Historic Preservation Board is willing to locate wherever. Just normally we live stream their meetings, as well as we had a resolution identifying that it would be in the Broderick Room. So I don't know what we do with that, and that's for next month.
Is it for after or before the workshop?
For the historic preservation,
Yeah.
for this, it'd be after after next week's meeting.
So when is the Board of Assessment review meeting? Like,
They have it blocked off for like a week or so.
From 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Because they do appointment-based with, and I'm sure they're going to be fairly popular appointments, so.
Do they need a room this big?
That was the indication that we got.
Traditionally, yes. The assessors or the reviewers sit, and it's kind of a courtroom fashion.
It's like a quasi
Yeah.
judicial proceeding.
Okay.
I'm thinking, is the library available at all, or?
Well, so, I mean, the Historic Preservation Commission is willing to move, but we did a resolution identifying the fact that their meetings would be held in the Broderick Room specifically on a specific date and time.
Well, let's work it backwards, because we have the mobile equipment to still live stream with IT. If we can find them another room like the library, et cetera, then we can still live stream the meeting and just simply vote next week on moving the date to the place.
There's plenty of time to get out.
Okay.
Right.
That's fine, I just wanted to get a direction,
Sure,
because without the resolution, it'd be an easy answer, but with it,
Typically, that type of notice would be just open meetings law notice. It doesn't typically require like a publication of a legal notice. So you know, I think the requirement is at this stage, it would have to be noticed
Okay.
7 days before.
Yes, please. I'm sorry. As I'm the one that's going to be doing it, I would like to just have a little direction. I usually post the notices on the foyer out front. I post it on the bulletin board, and I also send it to IT to add it to the website. My question is because it specifically states in the resolution adopting the schedule for the Historic Preservation Commission with the open meetings law, it specifies 1280 Titus Avenue, Broderick Room.
So is it a resolution of this board? Is that what you're asking?
Correct. This resolution, a resolution was adopted by the town board back in January of 2025, adopting the location and the dates and the time for the Historic Preservation Commission. I don't think I need to do a resolution to relocate the room, but I wanted to confirm that.
I agree with you.
I don't think that's necessary. I mean,
Okay.
it's kind of elevating form over substance, really. And as long as the key is to get the notice out.
Correct. At least 5 days before I usually do it. Okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you. Sorry.
just two other quick things. I would like to defer conversation on the small cell applications to when we talk about resolutions specifically, because there is a lot to discuss and unpack there. And then it's not community development related, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that Rory McElroy won the Masters yesterday. His wife, Erica, is an Irondequoit native and graduated from West Irondequoit High School. So pretty cool local connection there.
Hey, Bill, if we could circle back to the
Yeah.
95 Lake Bluff Drive, maybe it's a question for the attorney. Being the time that it's lapsed, will that be put back out for bid, do you think, or what's the process going to be?
So that's one of the things we looked at. I looked at the bid documents. I didn't think there was any requirement that it had to go back out to bid. They're gonna honor the same, bid. They're still able to mobilize. I think Bill was gonna reach out and confirm those. So I have a letter, it's actually sitting on my desk to go out. I talked to Chuck Steinman, the attorney for the owner, on Friday, and I told him, because he said, I don't know what needs to be done, so we sent him all the prior notices. So he's got the detailed list of all the problems with the property, and that's it. But look, the town is planning to demolish this 30 days, I'll give you 30 days, and we'll commence demolition in 30 days, from the date of my letter.
So if I could, I mean, I know most people, I've driven down there. Just curious if there's been a conversation with, I gotta believe when they do this work, they're going to shut that road right down. There's no room down there. So is that part of the conversation with the contractor?
Yeah.
Whoever lives the other side of that, Bill, once they get started, you're not going to get through there.
Yeah, that would be part of the demolition permit, which they're going to be required to
I'm just
pull.
curious if that's been talked about, because I can see the reality of that project down there.
It's been discussed, and they do have the experience with it, so I don't
Okay,
think
just
that's
so
a
we-
concern, but,
Okay, just if you're the other side, you get in and out.
and just to the attorney's point, the attorney for the other party asked for a list of deficiencies. That list was served via legal notice personal service to the homeowner. So this is not new information that's just suddenly being shared. This has been an open process the whole time.
It was, I would just add to that, I mean, it was personally served, it was also filed in the clerk's office, and it was the subject of a public hearing. So the notion that there wouldn't be adequate notice, and his attorney, you know, he's identified that he's representing the owner, and so, you know, I've already talked to him, and I will confirm that in writing, and so there's no reason, you know, not to put this.
Thank you.
So you're gonna know that you haven't sent it out, but he's gonna have 30 days. Does he get mail there? Or is it certified mail? How's this?
Sending it to the attorney.
Oh, you're sending it to the attorney, that's just, okay.
So,
So then he's got 30 days to clean out whatever, I can't even imagine what's in that house that he needs, but whatever.
he confirmed that, I mean, he represents the guy still,
Yeah,
so.
okay. He's got stuff in that house that he probably wants to take out.
Yeah, well, we have
Whatever.
30 days.
Okay,
Plus a couple extra days, because I talked to him Friday.
I mean,
okay.
there's a car in the park, in the driveway there with no plates on it. I mean, there's definitely, you know, things to be removed. I gotta believe. Yeah.
Okay. Middle of May. All right, then you could schedule the demo after that. Okay. Okay, very good. We're getting there.
Thank you, yes.
There we go. For recreation, summer camp registration launched last Sunday, the 6th of April. Within an hour, we were at 70% capacity for our 9 programs at 6 different locations for summer camp. So the process went really smoothly this year, and we're very excited for a great summer at camp. Speaking of camp, this is school break week, so we're full house over at the community center this week with the little kiddos for break week camp. We are currently building out new software for our registration and membership. That will launch mid-May. And then also that will be in conjunction with our summer activity guide, which will also be available mid-May. So we'll have that out to everybody just as soon as we have it in hand. Upcoming events, our farmers market will move back to Columbus Way on Thursday, May 1st. We will start with our weekly bands on, Thursday, May 29th. But you can look forward to the summer farmers market every Thursday from 4 to dusk here on Columbus Way. Upcoming Day of Caring event in conjunction with the DPW guys. We have a full lineup of volunteers. That is United Way Day of Caring program, which is on May 15th. So we have, I think, 6 or 7 project locations, and we are all fully staffed with volunteers for that project. So we'll be working with DPW on that. And then Memorial Day events this year, just to keep everybody on top of that. The weekend of Memorial Day, Sunday, the 25th, the parade will be at 3 o'clock. We kick off from IHS, and then we wind up here in front of the Town Hall campus. And then Memorial Day ceremony at the cemetery is Monday, the 26th at 9 a.m. And that is co-host with the Legion Post 134.
One question for our summer camp, do we have any, last year we had a deaf student, do we have any requests for that? Also, so the town board can take actions to fund any interpreters that we may need?
No, we do not.
Shannon, could you repeat the time for the cemetery?
Sure, that's Monday, the 26th at 9 a.m.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I had heard a lot of positive feedback about the camp registration process, how smooth it was this year, much easier. So thank you for all your work with that. And what a fun event yesterday, breakfast with the Easter Bunny. The community center was all decked out. I love the trees. It was fun to see our Easter Bunny. And to see the kids having such a fun time. So thank you to you and your staff. I know that that is a huge undertaking. Anytime you and your staff put together those events, it is a lot of work. So, and I just wanted to let you know that it is noticed and much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, you and Councilman Perdicone for supporting us yesterday. And yeah, we have a great team at the community center, so we're really blessed. It was a great afternoon or morning yesterday. Thank you.
Okay, so in HR, I guess the big project is our payroll system. We've ran 3 payrolls up till now. We're running the 4th today, still working on it. Everything seems to be running smoothly except employee self-service. We had some bumps in the road, a little glitch last pay period where we had to email everybody's pay stub to them. But with the help of IT, we're getting over that hurdle, and everybody should have access this Thursday when they get paid.
Hello, Chief Peters is at training today, so he sent me to do this. For the police department, we started our CAP, as mentioned. The arraignment, central arraignment's been going for about a week now, and so far it's been going pretty well. So the officers are getting used to that. We also are trying to schedule our spring in-service. It's where the officers come together twice a year and train, and it'll be in the spring this year, so we'll be doing it in-house. So it's just trying to figure out the schedule and getting all the officers in for that. And then we're just planning for the activities, various activities throughout the summer with all the events that we have going on. But that's about it.
All right, in the comptroller's office, we're finishing up our 2024 annual audit. We expect to have draft financial statements and the draft annual financial report that's due to New York State this week. We are also preparing our 2025 to 26 Community Development Block Grant Program. We met with the committee last week, and we have suggestions, recommendations for the program moving forward. We do not have an allocation from HUD yet, so we're not sure what the funding will be, but we're going to be prepared so when the funding does come through, we'll be able to move forward. And we closed a debt issuance last week. We issued a bond for the DPW facility, which was previously on ban. And then we had 2 new ban issues, 1 ban issue for 2 projects, which included the sewer laterals and mains and the parks improvements.
Thank you for all the work you did with the CDBG meeting that we had last week. That's a lot of work, and it was very well organized, and we were prepared to dig in right away. So, we're worried about the funding from HUD. So I'm hoping that that won't be cut this year, and that we can fund the proposals as recommended.
Is that what your handout was, Diana?
Yeah.
That's what this was from last week's meeting?
Yeah, the colorful sheet are the allocations that we recommended, and then the typed up sheet is just an explanation of all the programs and the funding that we propose.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As for tax collection, it's slowly coming to an end, April 30th. I know. As of May 1st, all payments will be going to Monroe County Treasurer. In the clerk's office, they continue to be busy with passports, marriage licenses, and fishing licenses.
Yes, so I'm still learning the ropes a little bit here. So one of the things I do want to set up, and I think that's going to require some coordination, is I would like to get into the routine of doing regular office hours at the town hall. And so I will try to coordinate that in the next week or so to kind of get that on the calendar so people have a rhythm and they know when I'm going to be here and can, schedule appointments. So that's something on my list that I want to do. As Bill mentioned, we have the work is in place to kind of get the demolition going for 95 Lake Bluff. I also wanted to say I met with the clerk last week to kind of talk about the process for receiving notices of claims and making sure that they get to the right place, and that she knows that there's a lot of different things that come in, whether it's subpoenas and summons and notices of petition and whatnot. So he sat down and kind of went over that, and I wanted to do that before I signed off on the closing, the attorney statement for the closing of the financing. So we kind of killed two birds with one stone on that. There are a couple of things that are pending. Of course, we have the two Article 78s that are pending against the town board. Those are still pending. No decisions have been issued. There's also there is a small claims court action pending against the town that is being handled by insurance counsel. So that's not scheduled to be heard, I think, until the first week of May. And I'm going to be pinch hitting for the regular attorneys for the planning board on these cell tower applications. So I'll be sticking around here for a planning board meeting tonight and then later on this month. So that's all I've got.
Okay,
Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Evans, can I just report on a few things from the library?
yes, go ahead, please.
I serve as the board liaison to the library, so I went to last month's meeting, and we have another one tomorrow night. But I did want to report on the usage of some of the ARPA funds that we had allocated. And what they had intended is to give every elementary student in Arundecoit a book. And they are really happy to report that there are all kinds of, I don't know, not so much grants, but they're able to maneuver some of that money around, and they're going to be able to give each student in Arundecoit 2 books. So and have some money left over for some other projects with our elementary students. So they're really, really happy about that. And I also wanted to let you know about the Friends of the Library. There's a fundraiser, and it's if you go to the library website or on the town website. There's a T-shirt, sweatshirt, and book bag sale, and there's really cute logos with the library, their mascots, and also the regular library logo. So please consider purchasing those. There are 3 resolutions for new library board members that we'll be voting upon tonight, so I can speak to those later if you would like.
Any other liaison reports that we do? And this is just for people at home. The school board had approached about supporting a book for a limited number of students. Because of the ARPA funds that we had and not being able to give the money to the school board, we decided to run a bigger program through the library, and thanks for your help on that, of helping with literacy for the whole town. So this started from a request from the school board and grew from that, and that's just for the people at home, that showing the partnership between the town board and the other taxing authorities within the town to take advantage of whatever resources we can to help the town as a whole. Okay, Madam Controller, is there anything on the financial report, or did we get a chance to review?
Sure. Okay. So the 2025 financial results for the town as of March 31st. The total expenses, actual as well as encumbered, are $9,574,000, or 22.5% of budget, which is below the 25% of the year that has elapsed. The breakdown is actual expenditures, $7,700,000, and encumbered expenses, $1,874,000. The general fund expenses are 23.5%, or $6,457,000. The breakdown is actual expenses, $5,148,000, encumbrances, $1,309,000. Included in the encumbrances is the ambulance contract and legal fees. In aggregate, the expenses on the highway funds are $1,574,000, or 26.3% of budget. Actual expenses are $1,068,000, or 17.8%, and encumbrances account for $507,000, or 8.5%, and include fuel, salt, and equipment parts. Expenditures in the library are under budget at $413,000, or 14.2% of budget. Sewer fund expenses are 18.8% of budget, equating to $743,000. The expenses in the storm water drainage total $118,000, or 12% of budget. The general fund revenue received is $15,315,000, or 55.8% of budget. At the end of March, the town has received $13,011,000 of real estate tax, 100% of budget. 78.1% of payment in lieu of tax revenue has been received. Regarding the entire town, $27,153,000, or 63.8% of revenue and appropriated fund balance has been received to date. Approximately $19,366,000 of the amount received is real estate tax. At month end, the library has received $2,818,000, or 96.8% of its budgeted revenue. 68.8%, or $4,114,000 of budgeted revenue is in for the highway funds. Consolidated sewer has received $3,807,000, or 96.3% of budget. 98.7% of the stormwater drainage receipts have been recorded at $971,000. This concludes the financial report for the month of March 2025.
Any questions, comments, or concerns from the board about the financial report? All right. Madam Clerk, we have 3 sets of minutes. Any questions, comments, or concerns, or corrections on the minutes? Okay, now it's time to review the agenda for the April 22nd regular town board meeting. Madam Clerk, can you read the first item?
So there's 3 public hearings for April 22nd meeting. First, on the matter of a special use permit to construct 6 duplex garage units on premises 5324, 5334, and 5340 St. Paul Boulevard and 8 2nd Street in the C Business District. There are 2 resolutions attached to this.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. The first resolution attached to the public hearing is with regards to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. As in the packets, Part 2 and 3s were completed along with the resolution, and we would recommend this to be an unlisted action with a negative declaration to the town board.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
The second resolution is the approval resolution.
Okay.
Approving the special use permits for the construction. My apologies, I hesitated too long.
No problem. Sorry.
The second public hearing is on the matter of a proposed local law to amend Town Code, Chapter 235 regarding short-term rentals. And there's 1 resolution.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, this is the public hearing and associated resolution in order to adopt the local law proposed for short-term rentals. And I think there's some discussion to be had on this.
Mr. Czerny?
So we did talk, there was a good public comment made about the definition of hotels statewide and how that may impact our proposed short-term rental code. And when we talked, we decided that it would make sense to amend the definition section of our code to address that rather than amend this provision. Is that right? Isn't that what we?
Yeah, so the state law that just went into effect, I think April 1st, says hotels are associated with this definition. Right now, our code doesn't define even what a hotel is. So some clarity would help to avoid any conflict, which would only be, adding that definition to section 235, which would, involve a public hearing, et cetera. But I think it would be prudent to do that to avoid a conflict.
Yeah, because I think so. Just a little more background on the state statute. They defined hotels to include the definition of these short-term rentals, and because they're trying to include that in the tax code so that they could collect like occupancy tax and whatnot. And so that's the background on why there is that state statute. And so we just want to make sure that we keep our definition separate for the purposes of our zoning code.
And just to be clear, the town doesn't benefit from that occupancy tax, correct?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, for short-term rentals, we wouldn't, because we're
Correct.
banning them.
Right. Well, I mean, even if we had we don't get the.
I don't know who gets that revenue.
It goes to the state. So it doesn't benefit the town to say we want to allow short-term rentals because we still don't get the benefit of that tax revenue the state does.
Okay.
Okay.
I just want to make sure the board saw the comments from the planning board as the referral. I believe I emailed it, and it was recommended to clarify the definition of the transient rental to include a single party for rental of a dwelling unit to a single party for a period of less than 29 consecutive days. So I did update that into the attachment as well. Just wanted to.
That's a relatively minor change, so that would require
Any other questions or comments?
If it wasn't mentioned, the planning board did consider this as required by the town code, and they offered no direction either way. They didn't support or decline support for it, just that they considered it.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
The third public hearing is on the matter of granting a special use permit for the approval to construct and operate 8 new poles for small cell antennas with associated equipment in the R1 and R2 residential districts. And there are 2 resolutions attached to this.
Mr. Director?
Okay, thank you. This is again regarding special use permits for the 8 locations for the small cell antennas and equipment on new poles. They require special use permits. In the packet, there was the first resolution that is in regard to the State Environmental Quality Review Act, and the second one is for the approval of the special use permits.
And there's just a couple of things I want to go over with this that I think are important. One is that it's not unusual for us to receive these right-of-way permits for small cell applications in town. In fact, it's becoming somewhat normal. The unusual part of this one is that they need to put up new poles. A lot of times they just use existing poles. They've identified in the packets that you can take a look at that the existing poles in the areas don't support the weight of the equipment that they want to put up. So that's option number one to consider here. The other thing is, and I'll kind of pick a couple things to read through here, which is from our planning and zoning attorney, and it will kind of explain why our town attorney is going to have to sit in, is number one, they represent Crown Castle, who's the applicant, so they have recused themselves from this situation, which now puts the town attorney on the docket. The other one is we have a relative limited amount of ability to decline this application. And when I say that, I mean, since these are a utility, the FCC sees them as a necessity or as something that we have very little purview over. Really, our consideration here, and I know that this sounds somewhat baffling, and the attorney can correct me if I'm off base, is the poles themselves, the design, the location, how they fit into the character of the neighborhood, not necessarily the equipment that is associated with it, meaning the town board, again, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't really have the ability to say we don't want small cells, period.
Right. Plus they're specially permitted uses anyways, which, that also would constrain in some respects the ability to deny it. But they are treated as utilities in New York for the most part. There are certain things about, like the location, or the site plan aspects. They're going to be going before the planning board. But as far as the use goes, there's really, you're constrained in that regard. There's also the Telecommunications Act restricts the ability to consider the impacts of RF radiation to the extent, as long as they are in compliance with the FCC regulations. The town doesn't have the authority to regulate that.
So if we have no authority, what are we voting on?
Thank you, John.
Well, there's
That's kind of my
authority
thought.
on kind of what they look like, you know, kind of.
Well, that planning
pole.
board's doing that,
And
though.
the pole, right?
Yeah.
Planning board's doing that?
That'll be under the planning board, under site plan approval. This is a permitted use within these districts, but it requires a special use permit approval from the board,
So if we,
per our town code.
we all vote not to give them the special use permit, then what? They still put them up anyway. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, they bring an Article 78
Yeah.
proceeding first.
And then the other thing to think about here that I didn't mention yet is we're on what's called the FCC shot clock.
Yeah, I know, we're on
60 to
time.
90 days from their application, we need to make a decision, otherwise the assumption is that we just approve it and then life goes on. And that would put it at May 13th approximately.
Yeah, so,
That's negotiable to extend.
Yeah.
Routinely, and when I've dealt with that with other boards, by agreement, we extend it as necessary. What I would like to do is, I think maybe before the public hearing, I could submit some attorney-client memo to the board that kind of outlines kind of some of these rules so that you have a little bit more familiarity with this, because I don't, you probably haven't often reviewed cell towers. So.
That would be really helpful, especially me as a new board member, to be able to know what we can and can't do. We today, thank you, Michelle, we did receive quite a few responses from neighbors. Everyone was opposing this. And I've seen a lot on social media, and all we can do, I think, is just get the word out, what we can and what we can't do. And that our hands are basically tied on this. But in that vein, we've got public input time, and I hope that neighbors do come and to speak during that time. That is their right, and we do want to be able to hear. And I hope that the applicant will listen as well. So.
yeah, I'm just hoping there's some compromise there, because there's two of them, and there's two of them very close to my house, so I didn't need any of those, Michelle. I get all that walking my dog, believe me. So, yeah, so I just hope there's a compromise, you know what I mean? I know it's probably the look of them is probably the most thing, where the location is, so I hope there are some compromises with stuff like that, with the folks, and if they'll be okay with it, but in general, they're not right now, so.
Can I ask a question? So I think you said that they were looking to put them on the existing poles, which my understanding is they run in the backyard. Is that right? And it was too heavy?
I think it varies depending on which location we're talking about.
Okay.
But generally, whichever vicinity they've looked at in these addresses, the poles are not sufficient to support the weight of the equipment. Right.
Was there any thought? I don't even know who has the, oh yeah, that was good.
So right now, there's a comprehensive plan to go from 35-foot poles to 55-foot poles throughout the town. That plan is followed in New York State. So I think what the board can do is make a ruling that when that pole gets up, the 55-foot pole or whatever, the pole renewal plan, then they have to move that facility from the front or whatever to the existing pole, so to the new pole. So I think that, and I don't have the schedule, but I do know that the county and the area is in for pole upgrades to expand the level of pole. And for people at home, the first line is telecommunications, followed by data, followed by electrical. So that's the layers of the pole that exist. So they're expanding who can rent on the pole, et cetera. So I think that we can maybe say as it becomes available, they have to move to the stronger pole to negate that.
Yeah, they're probably wiring to the new poles, so that would be a bit of a challenge. I wonder if they could, is it feasible for them to install the poles in whatever easement exists in the backyards? Because I saw some of that in the comments.
So in our, however many years experience between the two of us, we haven't seen a small cell in a backyard.
Yeah.
That would be exceptionally rare, because they want to be able to access it whenever they need
Yeah.
to. And that's just not feasible
Close
for
to
them.
it's all close to the roads.
Yeah, and they want to have the strength of the right-of-way to put these poles up where the backyard, you can't really
Get to
guarantee
them.
that sort
Yeah,
of.
we need easement
Yeah,
access.
so I don't want to plant that into people's mind that they're going in the backyards to put these up. These are street right-of-way poles. And again, I think Councilman Cunningham made a good point of, we're not saying we support, we're not saying we don't support this. I'm just trying to lay out the facts so people know the limited scope of what we have the ability to do here, which unfortunately is not very much.
Who's the right of way? Is it for all these? Is it town or county?
Town.
Is the town getting a fee?
We do, yes. It's an annual fee.
We get an annual fee on these.
Yeah. It's a significant line item in the budget. And like I said, a lot of these small cells go through an administrative approval process, which is outlined in town code and has been that way for a number of years, and we are seeing an increase in those. It is rare to see this many poles need to be put up at once by a contractor, so.
So in my experience with these, this is how I've done them in the past. When Nixon Peabody has come forward for Verizon, there was 11 locations last time. I don't know if, John, if you remember, it was a while ago. It was quite a while ago where there was 11 locations that we had to go through with inserting the new poles in the public right-of-ways. The other thing I just want to mention is that at the administrative, per our code, administrative review states that microcell support poles no greater than 50 feet in height. So if any of these poles go over the 50 feet in height, an area variance would need to be required in addition to another public hearing and so forth. These are not
Yeah,
over.
Madam Secretary, is that an ode? When was that code written?
This code was adopted, I'm scrolling to the top here. I believe it was 1998. It was added in 1998 and amended in 2019.
Okay.
Our local law.
Yeah, we may want to look at the New York State, and actually, Councilman Malone of the CWA, what is the current criteria for the cable workers to put up? Because I think it's changed to 55 instead of 50 being the max.
That would be the right reference.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
I had one other question that got brought to light today about these small cells, is that some work in the right-of-way has happened on them without a permit, and I guess, yeah, that's how it appears. So I was wondering if we could talk about, like, what we do.
We need a
I mean,
permit.
it seems a little, deeper than,
They don't have the right to do it.
no,
And, could you issue a stop work order or?
yeah, that's,
That's what
See,
you
already, you know what I mean? They're doing stuff like that, come on.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They're not
Ask them about
setting
that
the
at the hearing.
precedents as far as I'm
Okay.
concerned, you know what I mean? They're already starting things and they don't have approval for, so.
Yeah, the project manager of the project should have the permit, the master permit in that before he starts. So that's a major foobar.
So stop work order and be sure to ask the presenter those questions at the public hearing.
okay.
Is there anything that you need as far as, from us, as far as that goes?
No, we're used
Okay.
to stop work orders. Yeah,
Okay,
we
all
can
right.
handle that.
Just
but
wanna
I
make
appreciate
sure.
that. I have a few other. Yeah, I might catch up on this to make sure we're doing it right. But that's why I wonder some of the comments that we got today might be like, oh my God, what's this?
Don't they need a building permit too to put those up or not? Well, they certainly need a right-of-way permit.
A right-of-way permit.
First.
Yeah.
I don't think a building permit. Any other questions or comments? Thanks very, very much for that input.
I have a question. Is it possible during the permitting process to require them to do a professional evaluation of the equipment they're installing?
We can ask them anything we want.
What we do with solar facilities is we require the contractor to get in a professional appraisal of the equipment so that when the state which will probably lack about 18 months before we can put it on the valuation of that particular equipment on the tax rolls, we ask them to provide a professional appraisal of the equipment.
It's a question we can answer.
That's a good question. I'm going to give this to Mr. Attorney.
Yeah, absolutely. Come to the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a spot
right
there
there.
Our new assessor.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes,
Welcome.
No, that's fine.
I'm not familiar with how that works. If I remember, it's a fixed rate. It starts with the state, but I'll get through that, Mr. Attorney. That's outside of my purview.
So, in the process of gathering the information for the application, have we requested that maybe we send a letter that asks them to submit that in advance of the hearing so that we have that in our files so that we have an idea what the value might be for the purposes of assessing them?
I mean, our standard for a building permit is to get the assessed value of the construction, so we'll
Yeah.
take a look at what we
Yeah.
got and
Yeah.
see if
So
that's
that,
in there.
right. And so, I mean, it's not gonna be done, but, it would be like next March that we're looking at when it's
Yeah.
done and.
Yeah.
Would it be different because it's a utility company? That's what I'm thinking. Is that the evaluation, because they're a public utility, would not come into...
Well, I think we should still get it. Like, if it's part of our records. Yeah.
Yeah, we can inquire and we can get that, enter it as part of the application.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Madam Clerk.
Under appointments, item number 1, authorizing the appointment of a chief court clerk.
May I have an explanation?
Yeah, I'll start. Obviously, the judges want to appoint a new chief court clerk. This is exempt from civil service. I'll defer to Sally to maybe describe the process of selection there.
I'm retiring, and when I was appointed, we immediately interviewed and we hired a deputy court clerk, and the board had approved a pay increase for the deputy court clerk. And so over the last 3 years, she has been doing what our former deputy court clerk did, but also learning how to do the job of the chief court clerk, with the understanding that it would make for a much easier transition when and if I left the position. So now that that is imminent, I have 14 days left. Now that it's imminent, the judges have offered the position to Kim Kimball, who is the deputy clerk, and she's in the front row. And so we had asked that Jason make the appointment so that she could just immediately step into the position on May 9th rather than having to wait for the May board meeting.
And I just want to say, Ms. Nash, Madam Chief, it has been an absolute pleasure working with you and learning from you. And I want to thank you for the grace that you've shown me as I've learned about the court. And I also want to extend, Ms. Kimball, it's also been great working with you, and I look forward to it. I don't think the judges could have made a better choice. You both have been absolutely wonderful for a new town supervisor to work with.
I just have a question. Would it be helpful to waive the second read and approve this tonight?
Yes, we can do that.
then we'll have to search for a deputy then, right? Correct? Is that next up?
I mean, I don't think
Doesn't
the
matter.
timing of
Okay.
this week or next week matters, right? It's not effective until the day after Sally leaves, regardless.
Good point.
Okay, I just
So next week could be.
want to throw that out there.
Right, I
Just-
understand, but
And-
next week is fine.
So just for clarification, I have submitted the position request form to replace Kim's position. So, I mean, that's something that you might want to consider doing before May 9th so that we can start interviewing before I'm actually gone and Kim's moved up.
So you want to get a deputy on before May 9th?
That would be lovely.
At crunch time here now, right? You know?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with approving her tonight in lieu of. Is there a HR issue?
Not on the initial appointment. I think the board would discuss whether they would approve recruiting for the deputy position at this time. It wouldn't be filled until the May meeting at least anyway, if that was the case. So once I got direction from the board that it's a position you want to fill again, I'll go ahead and do a public posting for that so they have folks to interview.
I think from my perspective, I sit on about 3 or 4 proceedings and watch the court from pretty much from beginning to end. And I think the position is needed to be filled, looking at how much work that goes on, especially behind the scenes. I think it's necessary. Madam Chief?
So having a deputy court clerk has really alleviated both my workload, but also the load of the other clerks, because the deputy chief clerk does all of the orders of protection, transfers cases to the grand jury or any other court if they don't stay in our court. She handles all of the small claims cases, all of the evictions cases, as well as, backing the chief up when she's not in the office. So, yeah, it would put a huge burden on the judge's confidential clerks to not have a deputy clerk.
And when there wasn't a deputy clerk, I understand that one of the judges did maybe 20 or 30 more hours a week to fill in for that, not having that position.
Item number 2.
Actually, so I'm sorry. So I'm looking for clarification. Are we,
Going to proceed to search for a deputy. that we're gonna-
And we can also, and we also agree to approve her tonight so that we can just move the procedure along?
right, so we'll save this for board action?
Right.
Okay, all right. I just wanted some clarification.
Item number 2, authorizing the provisional appointment of a special events coordinator.
I can speak to that one as well. So we lost our special events coordinator. We did post for the position, and thankfully, the director of recreations, well connected to the recreation community. People applied directly and to us as well. She came up with a recommendation for Miss Shanna Butler to fill this position.
So I will ask the question also, then, again, the same question. Would it be helpful to waive the second read and approve this tonight in light, number one, that Caitlin is gone, and number two, that I would imagine that Shanna, is that her first name? Shayna, that she needs to give notice to be able to start. So I'm wondering, it's only a week, but I'm wondering if a week is helpful to push this up and vote on it tonight.
Yes, that would be helpful on our end.
Those on there too.
We're making you work.
When is, has Caitlin already left the position, or will there be a training time available?
Caitlin's last day was yesterday.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, we'll put,
Okay.
it'll be board action as well then too. Okay.
Under community development, item number 3, calling for a public hearing on a proposed text amendment to local law, chapter 192 of the Code of the Town of Arundequoit.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. If some of the board, remembers, John, sorry, back in, it was in April of 2023, we amended the refuse code. A portion of the code stated that it needed to be behind the front foundation of the dwelling. Well, come to find out, I've been informed that there's 2 other sections within our 192 chapter that also mention it beyond front foundation line. So in your package, you will see the redacted amendments, taking out the portions stating behind the front foundation and so forth. So this is just the calling of the public hearing, updating the town code text amendment to 192.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Authorizing the scheduling of a public hearing pertaining to the adoption of the Arundequoit 2025 Community Development Block Grant Program.
May I have an explanation?
So this resolution would call a public hearing at the May Town Board meeting to give residents an opportunity to speak about the proposed programs for the upcoming CDBG program year. The programs have not changed significantly from one year to the next. We still have funding for our home improvement program, which we are going to increase the grant amounts to $7,500 from $4,900 for the homeowners. We still have the comprehensive housing counseling, Life in Arundequoit, the Home Safe Home. We have some street resurfacing and sidewalk improvements in the program, as well as some additional street tree planting, our iRide senior transportation program, and the Arundequoit Community Cupboard. So the programs are very similar to last year.
Any questions or comments? And again, thanks for all the work for the committee. Madam Clerk?
Under courts, authorizing a contract for scanning and shredding Arundequoit court documents and files.
Madam Chief?
Thank you. I gave you a packet. I walked in a packet this morning because we were actually asking for 2 resolutions. We didn't find out until Friday that we needed the second one, so I apologize for the delay in that. With our JCAP grant, we are not only shredding and destroying documents, but I'm ignorant when it comes to all this tech stuff, so someone has to be employed to manage the files that are in the cloud somewhere. So if you look at your packet, I've given you a breakdown of the what we were awarded. And the first company, the ICC CDS, is the management company. And then the eBizDocs is the company that's actually going to do the physical work of shredding and destroying the files. And it gives you a breakdown. So you should have 2 resolutions, one to enter a contract with ICC CDS, and the second resolution to enter into a contract with eBizDocs.
Madam Controller, the first question I have is, what impact does it have on our budget?
Excuse me, this is fully funded by the JCAP grant, so there is no effect on the budget. The revenue will be recorded coming in and the expenses going out, and they will be equal.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 6, authorizing tuition reimbursement for an employee.
You have an explanation?
Thank you. This one's pretty straightforward. Investigator Soprano would like to continue his education and earn his bachelor's degree. He is enrolled in criminal justice program, and these courses would fulfill the requirements for that. The CBA does outline the benefit reimbursement rate at 50%. So this is just formal authorization so he can go ahead and enroll in those courses.
Any questions or comments?
Is it, does the CBA speak to, they need to complete the class at a certain grade before they can get reimbursed?
It does. Forgive me, I don't have the CBA in front of me. I don't know if,
Right.
it does say successful completion. Yeah, I'm not sure the threshold, the grade they need. And there is a clawback provision as well if they leave within 1, 2, or 3 years.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Under the Police Department, item number 7, authorizing the attendance to the New York State 2025 Child Passenger Safety Technical Conference.
You have an explanation?
Turn that on. We would like to send Community Engagement Officer Lawton to the New York State Child Passenger Safety Technicians Conference, which is in Lake Placid. It'll be between May 15th to May 8th. The conference cost will be fully covered by the Monroe County Office of Traffic Safety due to our partnership with them.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 8, authorizing the attendance to Inside the Tape Homicide Investigation and Crime Scene Management Training Certification.
You have an explanation?
Yes, sir. We would like to send 3 of our technicians to this training. Our technicians are the ones that go in, do photos and process the crime scene. This training would benefit them immensely. And we're looking at sending 3 of our technicians to it, and it would only be $620.
All right, I also want to commend I think the technicians are a piece of the police that people don't really see, that do a lot of work. And I think that, well, I'd like to tell them to know that we have some excellent technicians. The van should be well stocked right now, correct? Or restocked after the 2 major incidents. So I think that Arundequoit is lucky to have them.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Item number 9, declaring salvage of police interceptor.
You have an explanation?
Yes, sir. This is just one of our patrol vehicles that was involved in MVA, and we are unable to replace it or fix it.
Any questions or comments? I think we've already ordered a new replacement for it yet.
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
Just to get rid of it.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
For the Department of Public Works, item number 10, authorizing the supervisor to enter into First Amendment agreement for asset management system software for street lighting.
You have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This is the contract that we would extend with the New York Power Authority. This is how we they come in and maintain the streetlights throughout town. So it's a slight increase from a couple years ago for not what they, come in and do routine maintenance. And then as needed, MVAs or other things that come up with the streetlights, we can coordinate with them to come in and do that necessary work.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 11, calling for a public hearing to amend Article 7 of Chapter 222 of the Code of the Town of Arundequoit relating to installation of no stopping signs.
May I have an explanation?
Yeah, this was looking to be if you guys want to give input, the DEC down on Lakeshore Boulevard around the Eagle's Nest, they don't want people stopping. They want people to keep going. So I just wanted to get feedback if that's what you want. Like, I guess it would fall upon the police department too.
That's the location, Lakeshore Boulevard?
Yeah, like right by, I don't know if you know where the Eagle's Nest is. They say
not
that
that
the
far from
Eagle's
you,
Nest
John.
is potentially going to be there for like the next 8 to 10 years.
They come back every year, right?
Yes.
Apparently, yes. So
It's been a real problem.
Oh, I know.
yeah, so it's do we want to change code so we would put up no stopping signs and then we would encourage people to not stop or park there to look at the Eagles.
Would it be more effective to put up some sort of physical barrier where they stop at?
That's residential right there. I don't know if that, I don't know,
But in our right of ways where they're pulling off on the road at, which is dangerous for the for the people stopping, would it be possible to put up some sort of marked barriers with also no stopping in this area?
I can't,
It's probably been going on a couple months now, isn't it, anyway?
I mean, yes.
I don't know. I don't know when the chicks are done and they fly on their own. I don't know how long that takes, but.
You know, obviously too, when the leaves get on
It's
the
very
trees, I think the
active,
site
though.
is
Very-
not
It is
quite-
active. It is a
yeah.
very active area, so.
So. You want to say?
And my concern with just the sign is that unless we have a police there, it becomes unenforceable.
In order for us to enforce it, you would need a sign there. As for barriers, it would be hard to, I mean, I would have to look at it again, but I think.
Yeah,
it'd be-
barriers, I just don't know.
It's
what
not
they would
gonna
look
work
like.
with the barriers because
No.
you still have to have that between, from the lane to the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
You're just pushing traffic farther out into the lane.
Thank you, and that's why I'm not the expert.
Not either, it's just a suggestion.
Any other questions or comments?
did you get the feedback that you wanted?
So do you want to move forward?
Yes.
Do you want this
Yeah.
change to town code?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Then yes.
Madam Clerk.
Item number 12 in the Recreation Department, authorizing a contract with referees for Spring 2025 Women's Soccer League.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, this will allow us to move forward with our annual contract for refs for our women's soccer league at McAvoy Park.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk.
Item number 13, authorizing the supervisor to amend and enter various contracts with vendors for youth, family, and senior recreational programming for 2025.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, we are looking to add a new Group X instructor. We've located an individual who we will be bringing in more nights and weekends to do more high-intensity programming like kickboxing.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk.
Item number 14, authorizing the acceptance of a gift of fitness equipment.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, Mike Nolan from I-Square reached out to the Recreation Department and said that he had some fitness center equipment that he was looking to donate. We went over and took a look at the equipment, and we would like to receive 4 spin bikes and 2 recumbent bikes that are pretty much brand-new condition from I-Square.
I know he's trying to sell those. I'm sure he sold off some. That's an awesome gift. That's wonderful.
Any other questions, comments? Madam Clerk.
Item number 15, approving request by Swans Market for Farmers Market Oktoberfest event.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, this is our annual Oktoberfest themed market coming up in September. We generally partner with Swans, and they handle beer sales and also checking IDs and that sort of thing associated with the sale of beer for that particular market, which is not an item that we typically would sell at the market. So we work with Swans for that.
Any questions or comments? Madam Clerk.
For Town Clerk's Department, authorizing a special event license for the Arundecoit Little League Parade.
May I have an explanation?
We wanted this to be on the agenda for next week, however, we're still waiting on insurance approval, but all other approvals have been approved and submitted.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, before we move to the board items, won't we attach the appointments as the following, the board action 6, 7 in that order? So we'll do the appointments after we do the numbered resolutions. Make sense?
Sure.
Okay. All right, we have a couple of items for board action. May I have a motion? I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, can you read the first item?
Authorizing an appointment to the Town Library Board.
May I have a motion?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
I can speak to this. These three resolutions, there were three vacancies on the library board. The library board went through quite an intensive interview process. I was able to take part in a few of them. There was a whole rubric, and this is the result of those interviews. The three have did attend last meeting as non-voting members. They're already engaged. They've been engaged in the community and in the library as well. So we enthusiastically recommend these three candidates.
Thank you. Any additional explanations? Any additional discussions, questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 4, authorizing a temporary one-year reappointment for the Board of Assessment Review.
May I have an explanation? I'm sorry. Motion to adopt?
I'll move it.
May I have a second? May I have an explanation?
You have 5 members of your Board of Assessment Review, and it's your temporary position is kind of a swing position. And my understanding is they will be there during the whole process, and when they go into adjournment, if for some reason you don't have a quorum, they're able to move the Board of Assessment Review determinations forward.
Thank you. Any additional questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Authorizing the provisional appointment of a special events coordinator.
Motion to adopt?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any additional explanation? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Authorizing an appointment of a deputy court clerk.
Motion to adopt?
I'll move.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have additional explanation? I'm sorry?
I thought
Not a deputy.
Yeah, it would be the appointment of the chief court clerk.
Chief, not deputy.
error. Deputy, I'm sorry, Chief Court Clerk.
Okay, let's do it over again. Motion to adopt?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation? No additional explanation? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
We have a reappointment, right? A reappointment of assessment board?
Oh,
You did the temporary one, right?
sorry, yeah. Item number 5, authorizing a reappointment for the Board of Assessment Review.
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
Any additional explanation?
Give granted.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. We also have did we do the community development? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, yep.
just want to make sure that we got everything. You see anything I missed?
I think you're good.
We're good? Okay, I think we had a pretty robust discussion. Is there anything else that the town would like to discuss that wasn't on the agenda that we have to look forward for, that you need any information from the town employees on?
I was asked to let everyone know that the United Way kickoff is going to begin on April 22nd, and representatives from the United Way will be here at Town Hall from 9 to 9:30. So we're hoping to have a really great representation and support for the United Way. And there will also be a canned good drive for the Irondequoit community cupboard that's attached with that. So just wanted to let everyone know.
Thank you, and just remind the people at home, this more informal format allows the town board to communicate with department heads and also to let the people at home see a little bit of how sausage is made, which isn't always pretty, but it always tastes good. So the next town board meeting is April 22nd at 7 p.m. The next workshop meeting is May 12th at 4 p.m. And the regular town board meeting in May is May 20th. This concludes our workshop meeting for 14 April. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move it.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thanks.